Tom Brady is an overrated system quarterback.
Oh, but him going to the Buccaneers and playing with a different team and still winning the Super Bowl means that he has to be the GOAT, right? Shut the fuck up. No, because all of you just fucking listen to what the fucking mainstream media tells you. All you do is look at it on a surface level and you don't dig deep into what actually happened. But that's not what I do. I'm smart enough to know that football is a team sport. Now, I'm going to walk you through the career of Tom Brady, okay? And I want you to tell me after the end of the video if you still think that he's the GOAT, alright? January 19th, 2002. Oakland Raiders versus New England Patriots. Raiders lead 13-10 with 1:50 left, and Charles Woodson blitzes and hits Brady as he drops back to pass, jarring the ball loose.
Blitz. Lost the football. It's on the ground. Covered by the Raiders.
The quarterback's arm was going forward. It is an incomplete pass.
Well, there's no doubt his arm was going forward.
Sure. But he had held up.
I think it's safe to say that this will be talked about quite a bit.
You think?
In almost every other game in history, this would have been called a fumble. The Raiders recovered it, and the Raiders would have won this game. But no. The referees pull a fake rule out of their asses called the tuck rule. This rule does not even exist anymore. It was voted out of the league, and the only team that voted to keep it was, you guessed it, the New England Patriots. So the tuck rule determined that because Brady tucked it, it is no longer a fumble. Patriots keep the ball. And then they drive down, kick a field goal, and send it into overtime, and eventually kick another field goal to win the game. But had this been called correctly as a fumble recovery by the Raiders would have won, and the Patriots would have been eliminated in the divisional round. Meaning, the Patriots don't win the Super Bowl. One Super Bowl. That's one Super Bowl gone from Brady's resume. And let's talk about that actual Super Bowl. So in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady threw for 145 yards and 1 touchdown. He's one of the few quarterbacks to ever win a Super Bowl and only throw for 1 touchdown in the entire game. And let's not talk about the fact that the game was actually won by the Patriots kicker, Adam Vinatieri. I don't know, you're trying to tell me that Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time, but 145 yards and only 1 touchdown is not that impressive. What I think is more impressive is the Patriots' defense holding the greatest show on turf, one of the most efficient offenses the league has ever seen, to only 17 points. Tom Brady only contributed 7 points to the Patriots' score in this game, and he didn't win it. Adam Vinatieri won it. Alright, this is literally the first Super Bowl he ever played in, though. Maybe further down the line, maybe my opinion will be changed, and he'll truly emerge as the GOAT, right? The second Super Bowl that Tom Brady won was Super Bowl 38 against the Carolina Panthers. Now, Tom Brady's performance in this game was actually good. 354 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But it was only enough to, at the end of the game, be tied with the Carolina Panthers. In fact, Adam Vinatieri had to reenact what he did in the first Super Bowl win Tom Brady had and kick the game-winning field goal. Brady was on the winning team. He didn't necessarily win the game for his team. Again, Adam Vinatieri won it. Now, this may seem like a reach. Let's just say Adam Vinatieri misses this field goal. Because there are plenty of examples in playoff and Super Bowl history where the kicker actually misses a field goal to lose a game. So it's not like it's unheard of. So let's just hypothetically say Adam Vinatieri misses this field goal and the Panthers end up driving down the field and scoring a game-winning touchdown. That means that Tom Brady would get another Super Bowl taken off of his resume. Super Bowl 39. Tom Brady threw for 262 yards and 2 touchdowns. against the Donovan McNabb-led Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I will say that this is probably the most clear-cut Super Bowl winning performance Tom Brady has had, because they were up on the Eagles almost the whole game. Tom Brady played well, except they were not playing Donovan McNabb at his full strength. They were playing a Donovan McNabb that was literally throwing up on the fucking field. Donovan McNabb, however, threw for 357 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he was sick. Albeit, he did throw 3 interceptions. Like I said, he was sick, and he put up superior numbers than Brady did. So what I can say for this game is Tom Brady played a sick Donovan McNabb, with Tom Brady only putting up 14 points for his team's score. I don't know if you realize this, but in terms of historical performances in the Super Bowl by a quarterback, that's not that good. But you know what? This game was too clear-cut and dry as a Patriots win. There was no, Adam Vinatieri field goal at the end of the game. So, I'll let Tom Brady keep this one. So, there you go. Then there was a big gap in time between Tom Brady's next Super Bowl win, in which he did compete for 2 Super Bowls, but lost both to the Giants. The Eli Manning-led Giants, which in the first one, his 16-0 team only managed to put up 14 points. Also, a lot of people give Brady unbridled praise for 2007 New England Patriots being the only team in NFL history to go 16-0, but they forget receiving corps consisted of literally the second or first best, depending on who you ask, wide receiver of all time, Randy Moss. The best tight end of all time, Rob Gronkowski. One of the best slot receivers, and actually literally revolutionized the slot receiver position in Wes Welker. And a guy that, had he not turned into a murderous psychopath, probably would have became one of the best tight ends of all time as well, in Aaron Hernandez. So, I don't know why Brady gets all the credit here. He literally could have threw the ball blindfolded, and one of them probably would have caught it. That's how good this receiving corps was. The 16-0 Patriots also had the 4th-ranked defense, only giving up about 17 points per game. And they also had the number 1 ranked offensive line, only allowing Brady to be pressured on 10% of his dropbacks. So your defense doesn't give up any points. You have all day to throw the ball, and you have one of the most elite wide receiving corps in NFL history to throw it to. Listen, I might just sound like a nitpicking asshole, but why would I give someone credit and praise for being in one of the easiest situations for a quarterback? In the second Super Bowl, against the Eli Manning-led Giants, the Patriots only put up 17 points in this game, and Tom Brady himself only contributed 14 of those points. As I said before, 2 touchdowns is not very good when you compare it to historical performances by quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. So yes, the Giants did not get lucky. The Patriots played like shit and lost, which they should have in a lot of Super Bowls. And even though the Giants won, and I'm happy about that, the Patriots shouldn't have even been there. The Ravens should have. You want to know why? Because in the AFC Championship game, Tom Brady didn't even throw a single touchdown against the Joe Flacco-led Ravens. Yes, I'm aware the Ravens had historically ranked defense. Still, you didn't score a single touchdown in a win. That's bullshit. You should not get credit for winning that game when you didn't even contribute any points. The Patriots squeak out a win because Lee Evans dropped an easy pass in the end zone, which would have won the Ravens the game.
Be picking on Julian Edelman in this situation. 2nd and 1. Flacco to the end zone, and it's knocked out at the last minute. It was Sterling Moore who took it away from Torrey Smith.
Caught a lot of people off guard.
It was Evans this time.
What a throw by Flacco. Gets it in there. The defender, Sterling Moore, never able to turn around, and that was an incomplete pass.
Look at this right here. Sterling Moore was on the practice squad this year for the Raiders.
And then right after that, Billy Cundiff whiffs on a chip shot field goal that would have sent the game into overtime and given the Ravens a chance to win.
In all likelihood, sent it to overtime. The last 2 years, 16 of 16 in the fourth quarter on field goals. 32 yards to tie it. And the kick, look out! It's no good!
So did Tom Brady win this game? He threw 0 touchdowns in this game. And the Ravens basically choked on their own shit and gave the Patriots the win. So did Tom Brady win this game? Should he be given credit for even making the Super Bowl? I don't think so. So the next Super Bowl that the Patriots competed in was Super Bowl 49 against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Tom Brady actually had a very impressive game, throwing for 328 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, but I'll give him a pass because he played against the Legion of Boom, one of the best defenses of all time. But still, there's fuckery afoot. Only down by 4 points late in the fourth quarter, the Seahawks are on the Patriots' 1 fucking yard line. And they have the best short yardage running back in the NFL in Marshawn Lynch.
Crowd silent now, as opposed to when the Saints have the ball. Oh, look at this run! What a run! Marshawn Lynch still on his feet. Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.
Now, any normal person with a functioning brain gave the ball to Marshawn Lynch and let him punch it in for a touchdown and win the game. But no. Pete Carroll decides to shit his pants and have Russell Wilson throw on the 1 yard line, and it was intercepted by Malcolm Butler.
Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
So, I know Brady's stat line for this game was impressive, but did he win this game? Did he win this game, or did Malcolm Butler win this game? Seahawks hand it off to Marshawn Lynch. He punches it in for a touchdown. Seahawks win. There's another Super Bowl off Tom Brady's resume. He's down to 4. The next Super Bowl that the Patriots competed in was Super Bowl 51 against the Atlanta Falcons. It's infamous because I'm pretty sure everyone knows that the Falcons had a 28-3 lead in the third quarter. Falcons have a 25-point lead with only 17 minutes left in the game. And yes, the Patriots came roaring back. Tom Brady did have an impressive stat line in this game. But all the Falcons had to do in the fourth quarter, still up by 8, is run the ball 3 times and kick a field goal, which would have put the game out of reach. But no. Matt Ryan drops back to pass and gets sacked, moving them out of field goal range.
It wasn't he. 2nd and 11. Ryan under pressure. He's going to get sacked.
What a fucking moron.
So the Falcons turned the ball over and the Patriots went on a touchdown drive and also got a 2-point conversion. Had they not got the 2-point conversion, the Falcons would have won. And then in overtime, the Patriots, you guessed it, got the coin flip. They drove down the field to score a touchdown to win the game. If the Falcons not completely forget how to play football, they would have ran the ball 3 times, running the clock down inside the 2-minute warning and kicked a field goal, putting the score 31-20 with less than 2 minutes left. I swear to God, anybody with a functioning brain, just like with the Seahawks, anyone with a functioning brain would have done this, but not the Falcons. Had the Falcons actually acted like a professional football team, they would have won. Most teams that have a 25-point lead end up winning the game in the end. So, if the Falcons didn't implode and won, this takes another Super Bowl off of Tom Brady's resume. The next Super Bowl that the Patriots competed in was Super Bowl 52 against the Philadelphia Eagles, led by backup quarterback Nick Foles. Tom Brady actually had probably one of his best games of his career, throwing for 505 yards and 3 touchdowns. While this was a monster game by Brady, he was outplayed by Nick Foles, who is no longer a starting quarterback in the NFL. The next Super Bowl that the Patriots won was Super Bowl 53 against the Rams, which in this game, the Patriots had the lowest score by a winning team in Super Bowl history, only managing to squeak out 13 points, but the Rams outdid them by only scoring 3. Needless to say, it was the most boring Super Bowl I've ever watched. I honestly forgot it existed until I did research for this video. Tom Brady in this game threw for 262 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Definitely sounds like GOAT numbers to me. But hold the fuck on. The Patriots shouldn't have even been in this Super Bowl to begin with. The Rams shouldn't have been either, but let's go back and let's look at how the Patriots got there. You see, in order to get to this Super Bowl, you have to look at the 2019 AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs. With a minute 1 left in the fourth quarter, down by 4, Tom Brady throws a game-losing interception. But guess what? Chiefs defensive end, D. Ford, pulls a big dum-dum, lines up offsides, giving the Patriots another chance.
Hands in the pocket. Flags out. Ball's picked. Ball's intercepted. It comes out of the hands of Ward for a moment. But he had it long enough, I believe, but he got a flag down.
Offside. Defense, number 55, lined up in the neutral zone. The 5-yard penalty will replay third down.
Can you believe it? He's right
You're a fucking idiot.
there. And he is.
Had D. Ford not lined up offsides in one of the biggest games of his entire life, the Chiefs, after getting a game-winning interception, would have kneeled on it and won the game. So, D. Ford literally back him up like 2 inches, and the Chiefs win. That's another Super Bowl Tom Brady wouldn't have even been in. So now he's only down to 2. Another play from this AFC Championship game that I just feel like I have to mention, because it's the most bullshit roughing the passer call I've ever seen in my entire life. Not even joking.
Stands in the pocket and throws. Intended for Edelman, no flag. So now this gives the Chiefs sack specialist. Oh, there is a flag.
Defense number 95.
Roughing the passer.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
A hit to the face to the helmet by Chris Jones.
He's reaching over. And Chris Jones in the middle, you're going to see him push the pocket on Tooney. And right there he slaps. And
right
that
where?
looks
right where?
Similar to the one earlier where he didn't hit him.
Come on. That's roughing the passer. The guy tapped him on the shoulder. Alright, now it's time for Super Bowl 55. Now, a lot of people say that this Super Bowl proves that Tom Brady's the GOAT, and you can't argue against it because he won a Super Bowl with a different team. But I can, and I will. Tom Brady gets to start his first NFC playoff game on the road against a team with a losing record because they played in one of the worst divisions in NFL history, the 2020 NFC East. And he also didn't even get to play the regular starting quarterback Alex Smith because he hurt his leg. But instead got to play Taylor Heineke, a backup quarterback, who played remarkably well in this game, actually. Then the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers went to New Orleans to play a team that beat him twice in the regular season. But in this game, Drew Brees looked absolutely washed, and I'll give Tom Brady credit, he played well enough to win this game. But in the NFC Championship game against the Green Bay Packers, Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions.
Good protection. Pass is picked. Brady floats it. Pass is picked. They're down and 2. Brady just throws it up under pressure. Evans. He is picked by Alex.
Game and honestly should have thrown more. There was plenty of dropped interceptions by the Packers defense. The Packers were within 1 score of the Buccaneers for the majority of the fourth quarter and intercepted it 3 times, which means they had 3 chances to drive down the field and actually acted like the 1-seeded 13-3 juggernaut that they were, but they didn't. Had the Packers capitalized off of Tom Brady playing like complete shit, they would have won the game. Quite easily. They honestly could have won this game by 3 touchdowns. So did Tom Brady win this game, or did the Packers lose it? Or did Tom Brady's defense win it? It's between the Packers losing it and the Buccaneers' defense winning it. Because I don't care about anything that happened in the first half. Because Tom Brady did more than enough to cost his team a win. So, Packers capitalize off of Tom Brady throwing 3 fucking interceptions and win the game. That takes another Super Bowl off of Tom Brady's resume. So what is he left with? 1. Also, I know that the Buccaneers kicked the Chiefs' ass in the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady won MVP for this game, but did anyone take into account that this is the only game that Patrick Mahomes didn't throw a single touchdown in? So honestly, most of the credit has to go to the Buccaneers defense. I mean, it must be so hard when you have Jason Pierre-Paul, Vita Vea, Levante David, Ndamukong Suh, and Devin White all on the same defense. No, if you take away all the freak occurrences and luck that Tom Brady has been blessed with throughout his career, he would only have 1 Super Bowl left. To me, that does not sound like the greatest quarterback to ever play the fucking game. Okay? It just sounds like a guy who always seems to be in the right place at the right time with elite teams to help him. I mean, literally, the Buccaneers team could not be more stacked than it is. And you're lying to yourself if you honestly think that Tom Brady's the main reason the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. Yes, he had a good season. It couldn't have been any easier for this guy. His wide receiving core is made up of a consistent Pro Bowler in Mike Evans, one of the most efficient wide receivers of all time in Antonio Brown, best tight ends again in Rob Gronkowski, and another Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver in Chris Godwin. And not to mention Scotty Miller, one of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL, as the slot guy. Literally one of the highest rated wide receiving cores in NFL history. Well, don't forget that they have 2 very efficient running backs in their backfield. Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. And on top of all of that, they had a top 5 offensive line. And you're forgetting the defense that I mentioned before. The defense is stacked too. Like, honestly, if your team has this much talent on it, I think anything less than a Super Bowl win would be disappointing. I just don't know how a guy that gets bailed out so much by freak occurrences and his defense making crucial plays in key moments of the game can be hailed as the greatest quarterback of all time. And the amount of people that can't see through it is honestly sickening. Because everyone's argument is just, oh, he's got 7 rings. Yeah. You know what? He does have 7 rings. Almost every single one has some kind of controversial fluke moment that made it possible for each one of them to happen. Seriously, the only one I couldn't find an argument for was the one against a sick Donovan McNabb. That's it. I don't care if he had fucking 20 rings. If every single one of them had some kind of weird controversial play that allowed it to happen, like a game-losing interception called back, or some kind of rule that was made up in service of Tom Brady, then I don't care how many rings he gets. Honestly, he might win like 10. If this shit keeps happening, I will never budge on my stance that he's not the greatest quarterback of all time. I still think that he's a top 10 quarterback. I probably have him around 7 or 6. Purely based on his achievements, though, because his play style isn't really that impressive. He's a dink and dunk quarterback. He might be the very best dink and dunk quarterback of all time, but that doesn't change the fact that that's his main style of play. You see, in order to be the best quarterback of all time, I feel like you need to have a style of play that isn't easily replaceable. Because I don't know if you knew this, most quarterbacks in the NFL can throw a ball 10 to 15 yards downfield. But I have never seen Brady get hit by a defensive end in the backfield and while falling down, flick a ball 45 yards downfield with pinpoint accuracy to score a touchdown. Yes, I'm referring to something Aaron Rodgers did. There's shit that Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes do on a weekly basis that Tom Brady could never dream of doing. And I don't care how many Super Bowls he wins, he'll never impress me enough for me to call him the greatest quarterback of all time. So I don't know if you noticed, I have not mentioned anything about all the cheating scandals like Spygate and Deflategate in this video up till now, because I wanted to focus on the things that Brady directly affected, because the cheating and everything has a little bit more to do with the management. Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick are some of those crooked figures in the NFL. Every single fluke play and bad call, every single made-up rule, and then layer the cheating scandals on top of it. Look me in the fucking eye and tell me Tom Brady is really that great.